Ketamine is designed to take you up and out of your body. Our physical container of, skin and body and all of these bones and muscles, etc., are the container for so much of our consciousness. And when you are up and out of that container, there is an experience that is very common of having the experience of vastness. Ketamine Connections, welcome back. I have a secret that I want to share with everyone. And I don't know how long I've had this secret, but I'm ready to share it here with you today. And it has to do with the back end of this entire business of helping people prepare for and integrate ketamine. And on the back end, we have a variety of acronyms, obviously. KPP, you may have heard of, the Ketamine Preparation Protocol. That's the self-paced guide that is helping you prepare for ketamine, whether it's before you start or after you've started retroactively to make sure the ketamine works. So KPP. And then the show, Ketamine Connections, is KC. If you haven't already checked it out, we have a new addition to our acronym alphabet soup, which is KSP, the Ketamine Starter Portal, which is a one-stop for all of the freebies that we've put together for this show. How to choose a ketamine clinic. It has a checklist there. Whether you should trip solo or with a guide, there's a quiz there. Anything that we have made that is a supplementary resource to the show goes into that free portal called the Ketamine Starter Portal. So we have KPP, we have KC, and we have KSP. And my secret is that I have been calling you guys my KC crew. Just a fun little name that I have for you. So some of you have been here with the show. My KC crew have been here since the beginning when we started the show back in 2024. And if that's you, I'm so grateful. Your emails are amazing. The way that you reach out is amazing. The way you ask questions is amazing. And I've met a lot of you in the Ketamine Preparation Protocol as well. It's always a joy to meet you and interact with you. And if you remember, it's episode number 3 of the show. This is one of the OG episodes, the title of the episode, The One Thing to Not Do Before Ketamine. And it is my very heartfelt advice to not listen to trip stories. There are so many trip stories out there. And if you heard the episode last week with Natanya, we talked about an experience that she had in ketamine that was really specific to her. And, in episode number 3, when I tell you, advise you, kind of guide you to not listen to trip stories, it's because you don't want those suggestions into your subconscious mind. We are highly suggestible. And especially when we are feeling like someone talking is an authority, we are really, really open to their suggestions. And we want to make sure that the ketamine is bringing us what we need. We'll always get what we need, of course. And it's nice to go in with as blank of a canvas as possible. So the episode today of How Does Ketamine Feel is broad enough that it's going to answer your question. My intention with this episode is to bring guidance to you. A lot of the people that I work with, a lot of you that I've met, have a history of anxiety. And anxiety is this overproductive predictive mechanism. It's trying to predict something that it cannot predict. And so what ketamine will feel like is one of the things that I know you want answers to, because it's one of the most common questions out there. So I want to answer the question. My intention is to answer the question, to keep it broad, to give you the information that you need, and also to let you have your own experience when you do eventually have an experience with ketamine. If you have an experience with ketamine, right? Ketamine is not for everyone. And a lot of you here listening to the show are doing your research to make that decision. So that is my intention for the episode today, is to answer your question, to help you understand what ketamine feels like, and also leave it broad enough that you have your own experience should you decide to work with ketamine. And before we jump into the episode, let's take a breath together. So let's go ahead and take an inhale through the nose and exhale, let it land. Just one grounding breath really can work magic in your day. So I hope you enjoyed that breath. Now, let's hop into the episode. If you're listening to this show, I already know something about you. I know that you care about doing this work well. You're not just here for an experience, you are here for real, lasting change. So let me ask you, how are you ever going to get the transformation you want from ketamine if you aren't clear about what to expect? The only way to make sure that ketamine actually works for you is to get clear on how the mind works and how ketamine interacts with your brain, the rules of psychedelics use so you don't make the same mistake I did, and how to be prepared for anything. And yes, I mean anything. And those questions only get answered when you follow a solid preparation protocol. Unfortunately, most clinics don't offer this up. Maybe they refer you to a therapist, but most therapists don't understand subconscious work or psychedelic work. And with anxiety, ketamine can only do so much. However, I also have good news. That is exactly why I created the Ketamine Preparation Protocol. It is a simple 3-step process to help you feel safe, supported, ready, and yes, able to trust the process so that your journey is powerful and life-changing, not left up to chance. Go ahead and visit the link in the show notes and get yourself prepared, whether you've already started ketamine or are going to soon. All right, back to the show. Now, the kicker for answering this question, which is the kicker for answering almost every question that you guys have for me, is that it's different for everyone. Everyone has their own experience with ketamine. The way that ketamine feels for you is going to be different than how it feels for me or anybody else. And what we talk a lot on the show as well is how ketamine is going to feel different every time you go into it. What psychedelic medicine offers us, which is so beautiful, is that you get the trip that you need, not always the one that you want. And that is also true for the microscopic experience that you have in it. You know, sometimes the experience is really big and sometimes it's really small. And it's going to be different for everyone every single time, which is why it's hard to predict. And which is why I encourage you to not listen to trip stories that are going to make you think that it has to be a certain way. And, oh gosh, I didn't have that experience. Was my experience wrong? All of these things that get kicked up that can be avoided by avoiding trip stories. Nonetheless, there is one common theme with ketamine experiences, and that is the experience of leaving your body. Ketamine is a dissociative. I've talked about that on the show before. There's episodes that are more science-based. We'll link them in the show notes if you want to check them out. Ketamine is designed to take you up and out of your body. Our physical container of, skin and body and all of these bones and muscles, et cetera, are the container for so much of our consciousness. And when you are up and out of that container, there is an experience that is very common of having the experience of vastness. For some of us, that shows up as feeling like you're in outer space. It could show up as feeling like you are in the ocean, in the vastness of the ocean. And for others, it's just this feeling of weightlessness, like you are floating through nothingness, like you're in the void. And it could also be like that, Alice in Wonderland falling through the portal, whatever it is that she falls through. Now, it's important to note that ketamine is not a visual medicine for everyone all the time. So it does not mean that you will actually see the ocean or see outer space. Sometimes it is a feeling. And that's also important to note because we all have different senses, right? We all have 5 senses. Hopefully you have access to all of them. We all have, regardless of how many senses you have the ones that are stronger and you have the ones that are not as strong. And that is going to come to play in your ketamine experience because for me personally, I am a highly visual person. So when I go into psychedelic ceremonies, it is common for me to see things. For someone who is more kinesthetic, which means that you're more of a feeler, then it's more of a feeling experience. So we might have the same experience of floating in outer space. However, I might see it, imagine it from having seen videos of astronauts in space or from just imagining what it's like to float through outer space. And you might just have a feeling of it. Someone else might have a hearing of it, right? And someone else might have a knowing of it. And there are just so many different senses that come into play that are unique to your experience, that are not just the sensory experiences that are more common for you, but also, like I said, you getting the experience that you need. Now, in the same way that your guiding sense might be different than my guiding sense, your experience of the same experience may also be a different experience, meaning that you might experience vastness, like very freeing, right? To get out of the containment of this physical body that you spend most of your time in might feel really, really good for you to have that break from the containment. And for me, on that day, maybe it feels really scary of, wait, where's my body? Where's my skin? Where are my physical boundaries that I use to operate the world? And so that's also important to note, that the same experience, even with the same sense, guiding sense, might be different for different people. Another common experience with psychedelic use is this feeling of oneness. Often people come back from psychedelic ceremonies feeling like they are one with nature, one with other people on the planet, one with the cosmos and other things that are always here for us. Science has proven for a long time that yes, we are all connected because we're all atoms just bumping into each other. And that is one of the benefits of psychedelic use, is that it temporarily takes away the feeling of separation that is something that is created in the way that we live our lives. Like I said, oneness is actually more scientifically sound than the feeling of separation. And when we have that experience with psychedelics, it's really calming to the nervous system. And it's also one of the benefits of psychedelic use that helps us feel better, because here's the way that I like to describe it. The subconscious mind, I like to think of it like a house with different rooms. And so you have a room that is all of your memories and your neural network, your understanding and experience of joy. And another room is your experience of fear. And another room is your experience of distrusting other humans, which we all have. And so when we work with psychedelics, the ketamine is lowering the walls in between those rooms, and you have different neural networks. You have the ingredients of different rooms talking to each other, sometimes for the first time. And that's really cool because, wow, like thinking about my experience of joy is talking to my experience of grief, and they're having a conversation that is changing so much of my neurobiology just from that contact. So that experience of vastness is not just an experience that is in our understanding, it's not just in our imagination. It is something that is scientifically happening in the brain. That is one of the benefits that ketamine brings forth. And this is also where we get that common trope of, our brain being like a mountain, a snow covered mountain with all these different paths down the mountain because we've just slid down that mountain so many times. And psychedelics come, put a fresh blanket of snow onto that mountain, and now we can create new pathways. And so that experience of vastness, when we come back together, we get to decide how we come back together and experience life and the world. And again, it's not always vast for everyone. For some people, it's actually confining. For some other people, it's very visual and vivid, almost like a dream. And for other people, it's nothing at all. And they're just staring at the back of their eyelids for as long as it takes. Now, there is an episode about, music to use for ketamine. Music is a way to guide your experience as well. And one of the cool things about psychedelic use that I want to highlight is that whatever experience you have in the ketamine is designed to give you an experience. And what you do with that experience, and I'm not talking integration here, even though I talk integration a lot. What I'm talking about is, okay, I had this experience of vastness and I found it really calming and really soothing. Great. Now you can get back there on your own. Now you know what that feels like. And you also have the benefit of having the contrast, right? Of like, okay, what things in my life, what people, what experiences, what structures in my life help me feel that good feeling of vastness, and what structures, people, experiences make me feel more confined. And when you have that information, when you have that knowledge, you have the benefit of choice. You have the ability to use your free will to decide, okay, I want more experiences that feel like this and less experiences that feel like that. And that is integration in a nutshell, is having the experience of contrast and having the epiphany of, oh, I want to feel more that way, and then actually taking the steps to make changes in your life to work towards that. Also, I want to highlight that the way that you feel in the ketamine journey is not as important as what you do with that feeling, right? Not just the experience of contrast of, okay, I want to feel more like this or less like that, but more so, what do you want to do with that experience? Do you want to use that experience to make changes in your life, or do you want to just have an isolated experience? And, what we talk about on this show is using ketamine to transform your life, in which case you want to take the messages, take the feelings, take the visuals, take the experiences of ketamine and put them into an integration plan that is going to help you make changes rather than just having an experience. You can have the most epic, amazing ketamine journey and feel the best, and it stays in that journey unless you take the steps to integrate it into your everyday life. One of the things that I want to leave you with in this episode is a mini guided hypnosis session, because hypnosis is actually a form of psychedelic. Now, if you are driving, please do not go fully into the journey. Go ahead and stop this audio and come back to it when you are not driving. If you are walking, it is totally safe to walk with hypnosis in your ears. If you are sitting or laying down, also safe to do that as well. You are welcome to keep your eyes open. I'm going to guide you to close your eyes. And the reason that we're doing this is A, like I said, hypnosis and ketamine are both psychedelics. B, because I know that I have a way of guiding hypnosis that feels a lot like psychedelics. And C, I want to invite you into my world. One of the things that I offer every month is called Mental Hygiene Moments, where we take 30 minutes to ground into a hypnosis practice. We are in the process of getting hypnosis recordings up on YouTube so you can listen to them at any time. And after practicing hypnosis for almost a decade, I have a way of integrating other elements as well that make this a much more robust experience. So, if you think that hypnosis is mind control, it's not. If it were, my life would look very different. I promise you that. Hypnosis is also not something you can lose your free will to. So, you are in charge the entire time. And it is also not something that I'm going to make you do something that you don't want to do. So, let's just clear the air right there. And if you're willing to go into a mini practice with me, then I invite you to close your eyes. Again, if you're driving, not the time to do this. If you are walking, keep your eyes open. And if you're sitting or laying down, perfect. Let's just close down the eyes. And as you do that, take a big breath in, bigger breath out. Again, big breath in, bigger breath out. One more big inhale. This one you're going to hold at the top. Sip in a little bit more air, a little bit more air. Open up the mouth, let it go. Good. And I want you to imagine a time that you were wonderfully, deeply, fully relaxed. Perhaps you were on vacation. Maybe you were laying down in nature somewhere, or something else entirely. Good. And just remembering that time that you were wonderfully, deeply, fully relaxed, and allowing now all the cells in your body to mimic that same sense of relaxation. Good. Take a big breath in through the nose. Exhale, let it go. And in this wonderful, full, complete sense of relaxation, knowing and trusting that you are safe, everything is working out, and that it is perfectly okay to relax, release, and let go. Imagining now one thing that you would like to bring into your experience of the rest of the day. Imagining yourself executing that thing, whether you see it, imagine it, feel it, hear it, or just know. That's right. And then go ahead and find something that you're grateful for, whether it's your sense of hearing that allowed you to listen to this episode or the device that allowed you to play it, or anything else entirely. Good. Feeling that sense of gratitude spreading to all the cells in your body now, spreading through all of your torso, all of your extremities, all of through the head, feeling that sense of gratitude filling you up so much that it's almost like you're bursting at the seams. Take a big breath in through the nose and exhale, let it go. And if you want to stay here in this relaxed state, then you're welcome to begin to ignore the sound of my voice, staying here as long as you like. If you're ready to come back with the sound of my voice, then go ahead and bring a big smile to your face. Open your eyes when you're ready. Welcome back, everyone. That was a fun addition to today's episode. My voice always changes when I go into hypnosis, and we have audios available for you. We'll have them on YouTube in the next week or so. We have them inside the ketamine preparation protocol, and they're also available in the ketamine starter pack portal. So thank you for joining me here today. If you feel better and lighter, go ahead and share this episode with someone who also would like to feel better and lighter. And I will see you next time on Ketamine Connections. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into Ketamine Connections with me today. If this episode supported you, the best way to say thank you is by sharing it or leaving a review. And if you're enjoying the show and you want to connect more, I would love to see you on my newsletter. That is where I share behind the scenes insights, thoughtful guidance, and other parts of your ketamine journey. Never spam, always fun. And honestly, since getting kicked off of social media in 2024, it's where I share the real stuff. I share stories, tools, updates that I don't post anywhere else. So sign up at any of the links in the show notes, and you'll be the first to know when I'm hosting live Q&A or when I'm doing other fun things that are not available anywhere else. It's the best place to hear about it, stay connected, and grow together. All right, that is all I have for today. Thank you. Stay curious, and I'll see you next time.